We're going to try this one more time just to see how it goes, see if it actually sends anything out this time. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. If it doesn't, I guess we'll have a very short conversation. But for those who are here, don't forget to check me out at twitter.com/LoreReloaded, twitch.tv/LoreReloaded. And as always, we can just talk here if we want to. There is something weird going on with YouTube, though. It kicked me off last time and isn't sending any kind of like alerts out. So depending on how it works, I guess we'll just have to go from there. What is going on, Boz Nerat? Hope you doing well today. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about a couple of things going on. What's up to Anthony at Tellerico? And of course, I'd get some kind of message and to see what's going on. But anyway, hi, dude. Hope everyone is well. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. And it looks like YouTube is actually doing it correctly this time. I tried to do something earlier this morning and it wasn't working. Now, I got to be honest, I am insanely tired because I had to stay up, take care of a sick little one before. So that could have been on my side. And I don't even have any coffee right now. So, Charles Ryan Lee, what's going on? Of course, we got Yulo Rera, Sky Bennett, Cognitive. Woo! Hope I spelled that right. Yeah, cognitive dissonance. I did, but I need to make the D. I need to capitalize it. All right. So today we're going to be talking about something that I thought was interesting and a topic that consistently comes up. And when I say consistently comes up, I mean I generally see it almost every day. Interestingly enough, for as opinionated as I am, I actually have people who are on both sides of the fence when it comes to the fandom. I have people that are generally middle of the road, like me. Well, I don't know if I'm considered middle of the road, but people are generally middle of the road who just want to enjoy something. I have extreme left and right friends who consider themselves a part of the fandom menace that far. And some are just who everything about Trek to them is somehow related to like the LGBT or is somehow related to diversity in the extreme. Which, again, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but something I noticed, especially on the Star Trek website, and let me know if the fan up there or the air conditioner is too loud or anything like that. But something I noticed when it comes to this conversation or when people talk about it, whatever their bias is where they go with it. So, for instance, regardless of whichever side you pick, they will see something and think that it automatically goes with them. So if someone thinks that Trek is pro-religion, for instance, let's say, then they will think that the original series, The Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, all of it is very pro-religion. As an example, and what got me thinking about this, is I was actually reading StarTrek.com and taking a look at a couple of different articles that they were talking about, and two really actually caught my eye when it comes to this. The one that we'll be going with, and to MN Tejo. By the way, I'm a little tired, guys, so I'm sorry if I sound off. MN Tejo says, Trek has gotten a lot worse since the JJ movies. I didn't used to see Nemesis as decent, but now in contrast to the new Trek, it's clear how the quality has dropped. I don't think anything can make Nemesis look good, by the way. By the way, guys, 42 people watching, only 8 likes. Come on, today only, you can actually hit the like button for absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Oh, yeah, also, a YouTube employee talked to me today. I had a little conference. They were trying to get me to up my YouTube memberships, get more people to watch it. I guess I'm supposed to tell you guys that YouTube memberships is like the best. I've always seen Trek as anti-religion, except for perhaps DS9, says Charles Ryan Lee. So I'll talk about this for a second, and then I kind of want to talk about what's on StarTrek.com. It has been a mixed gambit when it comes to religion for Trek. In the original series, there were people who believed and were of faith, and on the surface, it appeared to look like it was at least neutral to religion, if not pro-religion. However, when you start breaking down the actual episodes, especially those that involve religion, it doesn't paint it necessarily in the best light. That said, a lot of the quote-unquote heroes were religious. I know some people have said Kirk is religious. I don't believe he was. Scotty's atheist for sure, and a lot of the others have some form of faith. In the Next Generation, for the most part, the first seasons of TNG were so anti-religious, it's stupid. And basically the rest of TNG followed that stripe for the most part. There were lines here and there that added religion or had some kind of religious holiday, but most all of them were very, we don't believe anymore. Deep Space Nine did a flip that, where it started out with the Starfleet hero, Sisko, as an atheist, and he finds faith and becomes a believer, and also has the Bajorans, who have an interesting look on faith, and I think it was fair. Believe it or not, the best episode when it comes to religion was a Voyager episode, and I think that's the fairest I've ever seen them be. And the episode, which one was it? It was the one where Janeway had to save Kes. I think it was Sacred Ground. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Sacred Ground. And I think that's the fairest I've ever seen a take on religion from an atheist standpoint. And it was a Janeway-centric episode. I thought it was done very, very well. Look at Riker's response to Worf's request to religious ritual suicide. Well, I wouldn't even have to look at Riker's response. The way Picard does it. Picard was very religious. His religion was the prime directive. I'll say this. I would actually agree with you on that, Charles Rhineley. TNG is unfair to both sides. TNG is very, very critical of Christianity. And then they do what every religious extremist ever says. They say, I don't believe in a God. I have no religion. And then they just replace it with something. And I think it's unfair on both sides. Sisko is Space Jesus for the Bajorans. He is. That is true. What was the name of the episode of TOS where they see Christianity is happening on another planet? Oh man, why did I do this? I'm tired. By the way, guys, only 28 likes, 63 people watching. What's up with that? Christian planet TOS. I think I know what you're talking about. Was it Bread and Circuses? God, I'm tired. Fighting gladiatorial games. Yeah, TOS had some really interesting ideas. The Nazi planet, I think, was the best. I never even saw a reference to Christmas until Generations in TNG. And, here's the other thing. A lot of people like to use this. Picard is so anti-religion. He is so atheistic. It is just stupid. But people are like, well, in Generations, he had a Christmas tree. I got a Christmas tree. I don't believe in a God. There are so many atheists that have Christmas trees. And I know it always gets said, and this is cliche, but Christmas trees are originally pagan. So it's not like it's even a Christian thing if we want to look at it from that standpoint. I mean, it became Christian. I don't mind it being a Christian symbol, but I'm just saying originally. So anyway, I think it's a mixed bag, and I do think that I don't find it. I think it's more than not. I find it unfair towards religion. I really do, believe it or not. I'm not a hardliner. So yeah, that's exactly what I said. Nazi planet is the best idea. Yep. So go ahead and clip that and put it on Reddit, because I know that's what's going to happen. All right. So let's get into this a little bit. Again, we can talk about whatever you guys want. This is a conversation. What's funny is I tried to do this morning, and it was like only 5 people. It told nobody I was online. I was so frustrated. All right. This is on StarTrek.com. The 2 websites, which I will link for you guys, are 2 things. One that occurred on October 11th, and one that occurred on October 13th. Victor Snyder helping out the channel. As you guys know, the only way that I keep the lights on is through support from people like you watching the channel, doing stuff like this. So thank you guys so much. Wugha is not cool enough for Reddit. Well, just start attacking people and have unreasonable takes about what they're saying and take them out of context, and you too can be a Redditor. All right, so here's this one, which is the potential for queerness in the Vulcan culture. And then the other one, 53 years of Mudd's women, Mudd's women 50 years later. Which is right there. Now, I can read this to you guys, but I'm just going to go ahead and summarize it. If you want me to read it, I can. But basically, what's going on, Broken Eyes? Basically, what the author, Julia Peterson... By the way, did she write both of these? It doesn't say. So Julia Peterson wrote The Potential for Queerness in Vulcan Culture. And here's basically what they said. Is that you can't, as humans and everyone else, can't actually pronounce the names for Vulcans. That's in the original series. So they choose their own names. And the theory is that they choose their own names for the translator, because even the translators can't say Vulcan names. That's how hard it is. So Julia theorizes that because of that, the Vulcans actually choose their own names and thus choose their own identity one way or the other, that they choose what their gender is. And so Spock refers to he, him, but because Spock chose his own name, Spock could have been, Sura or whatever. Interestingly, she said some things I didn't know. All Vulcan names only have 5 letters. That's canon. They're only allowed to have 5 letters. And originally, they were all supposed to start with an S, generally an SP, and end with a K sound. I didn't know that, which I thought was interesting. They dropped a lot of that because you have like Tuvok and things like that. But there were some male characters that had female names. So her theory, and you guys can go back and read it. Again, if you want me to read through it, I can. I just don't think you want me to read it. She states that because of that, the Vulcans are open to homosexuality and thus are more open, and maybe even gender politics, and that's all just flourishing. Here's my problem with that. It doesn't necessarily care, but this is kind of what I'm talking about, because I see this on Twitter all of the time. And if it's something that helps people identify, or that's what they want to take with it, I really, it's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I just think that it's an unreasonable assumption to make. And you can't expect anyone else to really have that expectation when there's very little evidence for it. So, again, if it's something that necessarily empowers you and that's a take that you have, I don't have a problem with that. The problem I have is that it seems like people go out of their way to do this, and then Julia, in my opinion, in this article, almost talks about it as if it's fact, which it's not. Now, the cognitive dissonance that happens in this, by the way, thanks so much for subscribing, Chaos. Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. When it comes to homosexuality or anything within the Vulcan race, I don't think it's illogical. The only way it's illogical is if you assume that procreation is a necessity and is the only reason. I don't think that I think you could have logical reasons for why that's not the main goal. I think the main goal can be whatever you want. IDIC, infinite IDIC. So I don't, what is it? Oh man. Jesus Christ. I shouldn't do these when I'm tired. IDIC translation. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. So I don't really see any issues with that. I don't think it's illogical. The 5-letter names don't last long if it was a thing. Sarek was the son of Skonn, for example. Well, I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, I looked it up, and that is the official stance when it comes to Vulcans, that the names need to have 5 letters. And originally, again, it was supposed to start with an SP. Yeah, so anyway, here's where the cognitive dissonance is, getting back to the conversation I was trying to have. 2 days later, October 13th, we have 53 years of Mudd's Women. For the anniversary of its first airing, we're presenting some of our favorite facts from the iconic episode. For me, I look at this episode. I know a lot of people get mad at me, but I look at this episode as disrespectful, or even to a degree misogynistic. And I think, and I see this happen all the time when it comes to people who are very, very hardcore left. They take an episode that is quite clearly, at a minimum, disrespectful, and they try to turn it into something that it's not. There was a Twitter conversation, we'll say, that I got into where someone actually liked the episode with Beverly, where she went down to a planet that was basically Scottish, and this ghost was manipulating her for pleasure. And for me, that's as close to assault as you can get, if not assault itself. And so why someone who is ultra women empowerment and, don't mansplain to me, why they could like that episode is beyond me. And it's the same way with the way StarTrek.com acts. The cognitive dissonance, and this is just focused on that. It happens on every side with everyone, right? I see it just as much with anyone who is the opposite of the people I'm describing. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, by the way, there are 97 people watching, only 47 likes. Hit that like button, people. The reason why I bring all of this up is because I think that it is symptomatic of the divide we have within the fandom. That we have to take something that has obvious connotations to it, that is obviously written in a specific way, and then it has to be that way. And anyone that disagrees with that or wants to say, well, here's the way I look at it, is obviously wrong and the bad guy. And it was interesting to me to see this exact cognitive dissonance on StarTrek.com. Because that to me is just the best example I've ever seen of how this works. But I'm interested in what your guys' opinions are. Though, right now, you're still focused on Vulcans and homosexuality, which is, as it always is. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Once I say something and you guys want to talk about it, that's all you're talking about for the rest of the day. I could sit here and I could turn into a beautiful redhead and it wouldn't matter. The Vulcans are to the level where they really just don't care, and doing so are still fair. Humanity isn't there yet. When we don't care, we just don't act right. Okay. Crusher yes, I would agree. Crusher was taken advantage of in that episode. I completely agree. Well, I'm a bad guy, then I will proudly wear the scarlet letter as a brand upon my brow. What'd you do wrong, Charles Ryan Lee? Why are you the bad guy, buddy? Yeah, that one's a little more blatant. When Troy is impregnated, I don't see a lot of people trying to defend that. Though, to be fair, I guess Star Trek will try to make it better. But I don't necessarily... I don't see a lot of people that aren't like an official blue check mark trying to make that work when it comes to that specific episode. Political correctness is good to one point, but this is enough. Again, that's why I will always consider remakes or reimagined Star Trek shows like Enterprise or Discovery and Picard now alternative universes. Well, I mean, that's fine, Commander Sloan. I mean, that's not the way it works when it comes to what's official or what's canon. But if you don't like it or you don't consider it a part of it, I've never really had any real problems with that. Come on, Lore Reloaded, you are a beautiful redhead woman off camera. That's true. Every time no one sees me, I'm actually a beautiful redhead. You can't prove it's not true. When was the last time a man had a kid? Well, that would be in Enterprise. And DS9. Enterprise and DS9. Typo sum. What, Commander Sloan? Typo sum. I don't understand what that means. Well, I just caught up to Discovery, and I found the Doctor had a fine story, but shoehorned in identity politics frustrate me. It's fine to be what you want to be. I don't think... You see, that's my one thing. When it comes to Discovery, I don't think anything was necessarily shoehorned in. I think for that piece, actually, let me rephrase that. When it comes to the Doctor, when it comes to Stamets, I think that was really well done. And I didn't feel like that was shoehorned in or done for any kind of points or anything. So you and Raw Wrist are the same person. Man, I wish I was Raw. For multiple reasons, I'd be okay with being Raw Wrist. I actually met Raw Wrist. She's fun. I met her at Game of Thrones Con. That's how I learned of her channel. At that time, when I met her, I had less than 5,000 subscribers. So Raw Wrist is fun. I would love to be able to interact with her more. She's cool people. If you are a central person in politics, you are buggered. I would agree with that. If you're centrist, yep. Those who see the world through a politic prism never believe the others have the ability not to do the same. Yeah, but here's my problem with that. Why is the case now that... why is it the case now that we have... that we have to be divided? Why does the fandom menace exist? Or why is it that if you don't agree, if you depending on what you think of the Anis Abdon case, you're on one side or the other, just automatically? Why is that? There was a pregnant guy in Deep Space Nine. Was an alien. He wasn't human, but there was a pregnant guy. It was through dialogue. You never actually see him. Speaking more of TV shows in general, Deckfish. Oh, okay. I remember the last time a guy had a kid back in the 80s, Alan Nation, when Detective Francisco had his daughter. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's an old one. Alien Nation. The Doctor and Science Guy was unnecessary. I disagree, Sir Lewis. I completely disagree. I think Stamets and the Doctor was well done. I think it was put together. It was just as well done as any heterosexual relationship. I think that it didn't define him. I think it didn't define Stamets. It wasn't just there for Stamets to get any kind of points or anything. I think it was an aspect of his character that impacted who he was, but wasn't in your face. Shakar Singh, is this more Discovery shilling? Well, Shakari, I want to tell you right here, brother, thank you for being a prime example. I do not go out of my way to attack Discovery. I say what I like and I say what I don't like of it. And if there's things that I like that you think is shilling, then yes. May not be the channel for you, buddy. The like button broken all over YouTube today. Mine, Trekyard's, yours. You have a lot more likes than you see. Yeah, I don't know. Well, YouTube's been having some issues. This morning I tried to do a live show and it didn't send it out to anybody. So... yeah. Discovery seems to be written for millennials, all like the magicians. You know millennials are in their 30s and 40s, right? So, I mean, most likely, Scott, you're a millennial. Just putting that down there. Just as well done as heterosexual relationships so badly. I mean, if you don't like romance, or you don't think romance is done well, then yeah. Personally, I don't think science fiction necessarily needs romance. I think it's thrown in because it's a byproduct of how science fiction came about, and people expect it. So I don't necessarily think it's that way. But if it's in there, it can be done well. But personally, I don't think romance is necessary. But if you think it was bad, or you think romance is bad in it, then that's fine. Oh my God, yes. Stamets was better than Michael's relationship. Absolutely. Oh, dude. But there's a lot of things that are better than Michael's relationship. That was so poorly written. YouTube notifications have been hella delayed ever since I got upgraded to Windows 10. Yeah, I don't know if it's something else. I don't know what's going on with that. Millennials is becoming a curse word. Millennials is, yeah, and it's being used by people who don't understand. People used to use it because he's like, oh my God, these millennials when we were all teenagers. But now we're all in our 30s to 40s, and people who are millennials are calling other people millennials, and it's just funny. Thumbs up for Alien Nations with a younger Gary Graham. Love that series and the Fallout movies. I watched Alien Nation. I wasn't huge into it, but I did. I watched. I watched it when it was on. I wasn't 100% there though. I love romances. I adore it. I actually watch chick flicks. I'm saying Trek does it horrendously more often than not. Well, Shakara, I would agree with that. I don't think there's ever been a real relationship that I've liked in Deep Space Nine. From that, I think Stamets is probably the closest one. I think that one was all right, but I don't think they ever really did a long-lasting one well at all. Any of them. I'd love more romance in sci-fi. Well, you're welcome to be wrong, Ashkara. I'm just kidding with you. Hey, I'm live, just so you know, okay? Well, romance, I feel, falls in the same sphere as small displays of humanity in very violent series, such as Warhammer. Well, originally... Well, I'll tell you in just a second. Do you want to say something real quick? Because I'm having a conversation.
Oh, I just wanted to tell them what we're doing after the live stream where me and Dad are going to watch stuff together.
We're going to watch the new Carmen Sandiego? We got to watch the second part? Okay.
The second part of the backstory since we're starting the series over.
I did not know we were going to do that, but okay.
We were.
Well, I said we were. I didn't know it was after the live show, but all right. All right, go play. We'll watch it. Love you. So, science fiction. Yeah, last night she wasn't feeling, not that you guys care, but last night she wasn't feeling well, and so she woke me up at 2, and I have been awake since then. But we watched one episode of the new Carmen Sandiego. Try to get her sleepy again. Her nose and stuff, and so she went back to sleep. I didn't. Anyway, romance originally when it comes to science fiction. So science fiction wasn't one of the first genres, wasn't even considered necessarily to be one of the mainstream. And there was a lot of people that wanted to do science fiction. But in order to do that, they had to do it a couple of ways. They either had to utilize sex or they had to throw it in with like romance and put it under the subgenre of romance. Put it as a subgenre of romance. And that's kind of always stuck. She kind of reminds me of Naomi Wildman. Yeah, I could see that to a degree. Oh yeah, she feels tons better. Yeah, she is, man, she doesn't have a problem in the world. She went back to sleep. She got like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Yeah, she's got no problems. It's me that has to deal with the outbreak of that. That's fine. I'd rather it be me than her. Picard was most definitely not an incel. I don't think he was an incel. Yeah, a lot of people are getting upset about that now too. I just thought it was funny. It's actually going to end by the next episode or this episode. The incel, when it comes to Odo, was just a joke because I realized that they were using the link to manipulate him, and he couldn't be a part of the link, so he was involuntarily celibate to the link. I just thought it was a funny joke. Maybe I overused it, but I'm not a millennial, and I'm not a boomer. I'm from the often overlooked Generation X. Generation X still exists? Joking, Jason. Yeah, Picard was a MGTOW. That's exactly what Picard was. He was a MGTOW. Confirmed MGTOW. What's going on, Will Lowe? Hope you're doing well. When you put a bunch of 20 to 30-year-olds on a starship for a long time, you get romance. Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's not cognitive dissonance. It's Munchausen syndrome? I don't know what that is. But yeah, so there's just a lot of people that I have on my Twitter and that I talk to or that I watch on YouTube that I like, but I just feel like they try to, and I do this too, everyone does it, try to turn things that aren't their passionate, what they're about. And they turn whatever it is into that. And I think it's a disservice, and I think it even hurts where they're trying to come from too. And these 2 articles was just prime examples of it, in my opinion. Kevin said he loves my videos. Well, my videos love you, Kevin. My videos love you, buddy. Hi, everyone. What's going on, American Buffalo? How is science fiction a subgenre of romance when romance is virtually non-existent in it? I've read tons of sci-fi, and you don't see romance there. So, Mr. Londales, I don't know if you heard the first part of it. I was saying when they first started doing movies, when they were putting things together, science fiction wasn't as mainstream as it is now, and so people would try to people would want to do science fiction, but the only way to sell movies was to do some of the main genres, was to do like romance or drama or something like that. So their pitches would be a romance, and then the subgenre of that would be science fiction. So it would be a romance in science fiction, and that is, or they do sex, the B movies, the B, whatever they're called, B-roll movies. And that's where a lot of that comes from. That's where we still see some of the leftovers from that mentality. Ashkara, anyways, enjoy stream. Sorry if you're being aggressive. We're just having a conversation, Ashkara. I'm pretty laid back. I get pretty passionate and stuff. So if, quote unquote aggressive means we're just talking about the ideas. I never took it seriously. I took it seriously. I never took it personally. You gotta really try for me to take things personally. And generally, if I'm taking it personally, I'll just get off the stream because that does not lead anywhere good. What about Vosh? That was not a good story at all. I don't think Stamets probably was the best romance that I can remember. I don't know of any good romance or couples that really did well in Trek at all. 50 years of Star Trek and not one shot or mention of a restroom. Are there lines? So they used Sonic TP. Actually, incorrect. Comic books in cahoots. I believe it was Star Trek V. You have Kirk sitting on a toilet. Let me see. Captain Kirk sitting on a toilet. Where was it? It was in one of the movies where he actually hits a button and he sits down because he goes somewhere. And he's actually sitting down on what is supposed to be the toilet that you use. So it is also mentioned in DS9's... Oh, what's the episode? DS9 episode Sublight Ship. What was that called? Was it Explorers? It's where Jake and Cisco create a ship. Yeah, the solar system using a solar wind to power a small sublight craft. They talk about it there. See, here's my thing. I know all of this stupid information that will never help me ever once I get out of the business of Trek. Keiko and O'Brien is probably one of the worst, absolute worst, read my lips, worst relationships ever. Horrible. Keiko is written as a horrific spouse, and O'Brien is treated so poorly by her. Just bad. So no, Keiko and O'Brien definitely not. Someone mentioned someone else. Riker and Deanna. First time we meet Deanna, she's being highly inappropriate with Riker. Maybe in Picard, the relationship, it'll be a good relationship, but all the way up to then, no, I don't think that was good at all. Someone said B'Elanna and Flyboy. I forget the hell his name. God, I'm tired. Paris. I mean, that's decent. It wasn't all there. I think Stamets was better. But I mean, B'Elanna and Paris was just Worf and Dax, I don't think they expanded enough. I don't think there was really enough there. It was more meant for jokes or comedic effect than it was actually the plot or an expansion on them. Yeah, a lot of people take that wrong too. I just think Keiko was written badly, and she was written in a way to punish O'Brien or to cause controversy. I don't have an issue with the character. A lot of people think that I attack Keiko or I don't like Keiko. I just think she was written poorly because they were trying to hurt O'Brien. And so people just take that wrong. No, for me, it's Neelix. Who's Neelix? Cisco and Captain Lady. Yeah, Cisco likes and marries a terrorist. That's a good story. That's one I want to go with. Insane Way and her love. Okay, so I'll grant Insane Way and her love of murder probably is the best romance there is. I'll agree with you there. There's supposedly a guy coming out of the bridge bathroom in TNG. I don't remember that scene, but I'll take your word for it. Still a better love story. John Schmalbach becoming a member. By the way, yeah, believe it or not, I actually had a meeting with a YouTube employee today from Britain, and he was trying to talk me into doing YouTube memberships over Patreon, which is kind of interesting. I don't know that. I told him that I'd look at my marketing strategy. I'm not convinced, but thank you so much for becoming a member. You get all the perks that you did on Patreon, and it's a great way to help the channel. Thank you so much. What about her lust of coffee? Who's lust? Oh, Janeway? Nah, she loves murder more than she loves coffee. But she has a huge fan of coffee. Hot Picard and romance with hot Earl T. Yes. 125 people watching, 76 likes. Hit that like button, guys. Come on, don't be scared. The button is more scared of you than you are of it. I agree, Keiko, when they were on DS9, they wrote her more like a snub. When Cisco fell in love with Cassidy, I always thought she would turn out to be a changeling or a Cardassian Obsidian warrior spy. The problem with Deep Space Nine is that a lot of the characters, when it comes to Jake, when it comes to Keiko, when it comes to Cassidy, are meant to impact and show the positive, or to be something to be played off of the main characters. So O'Brien and Cisco. Jake rarely became a character of his own. He was just a tool or a prop to impact Cisco. Same thing with Cassidy. Keiko was the same way. The difference between Cassidy and Jake versus Keiko is that for some reason the writers, when it came to O'Brien, felt that O'Brien must be painful. He must be impacted in some kind of negative way. And so Keiko, as the prop to impact O'Brien, becomes a point of consternation. Darn it, Laura, I will like the video. Acknowledge the Christian God in Star Trek Toss who mourns for Adonis. It's lore, man. I mean, there's all kinds of gods in the original series and the Next Generation. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say prop. I meant a plot device. Come on, people, I'm cheap and tossed in a few bucks. Stop making me look good. Well, Victor, only you can... Victor, no one could ever make you look bad, sir. You will look good in my eyes always. Those characters ended up being plot devices for other characters. Yeah, that's what I mean when I say plot. And when I say tools. Maybe, or props. Maybe I phrased that wrong. I like the actress who played Keiko, but she was not a great character. Agreed. Garrick and Zial... When they're together, they were nice, but we didn't really get a lot. And I got to be quite honest with you. I am so sick of people trying to rewrite Garrick into something that he obviously was not. That his interactions can have a negative impact. Jordy and Dave. Now you guys are just saying stupid stuff. It's stereotypical that the enlisted NCO marries an agent. You're a horrible person. No, you're not a horrible person, but that's a horrible thing to say, even if it's probably correct. How about the many sordid live affairs of the Enterprise biggest player, Geordie LaFerge? You mean when he specifically goes after holographic women? Keiko was not as bad as Neelix and his literal insane jealousy of Cass. You know what's interesting about that is that he got insanely jealous of Cass when Cass was with other people. And then at one point they broke up, and then that was just it. They were broke up. After him being insanely jealous, apparently, they could just break up, and there's nothing to that. Are we talking about the whole gay homosexual Garrick stuff? We are, in fact, or were. Colm Meaney and the actress who played his wife hated each other. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Oh, yeah, that stuff about Garrick and how he was, yeah. My problem with it, I don't care if the Garrick was supposed to be that way. The thing is, he wasn't written that way. At best, he was pansexual or bisexual. But we never see it culminate. And to go back and say, well, it was actually that, and that's the way it was. Now you're just trying to get points. You're demeaning yourself. You're demeaning the people you're trying to talk up to, and you're demeaning the cause. If we want to talk about characters who literally existed to have failed romances, how about Harry Kim? I know how much Lore Reloaded loves Voyager. I'm a huge fan of Voyager. I think the creepiest relationship was when Harry Kim married B'Elanna and Tom's daughter. How creepy is that? Laura, what's your favorite hero ship in sci-fi outside of Trek and Star Wars? What's your favorite hero ship outside of Trek and Star Wars? It'd probably have to be something in the Expanse. I like the Rocinante, and I also like the Mars battleship. Remember that episode where Geordi helped a lady beat a murder charge and then she shot him down just before the end credits when he offered to get her assigned to the Enterprise? I don't remember that at all. Geordi helped a lady beat any... What? Geordi helped woman murder charge. Shot. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember that at all. What was the name of it? Hey, best friend, can I marry your daughter? And he says something so stupid. It's like, he says something so ridiculous. It was like, it's kind of like marrying my best friend or something Harry was talking about. It was crazy. Yeah, the Donager class. I love the Donager. But also remember small ship severely 5,000 light years away from Earth. What? Garrick was sad he had been screwed over by those he trusted and cast out. That would make anyone awkward. I never thought he was awkward, honestly. Aquiel. So I see this coming up. Geordi LaForge falls in love with a woman accused of murder in an isolated communication relay station. Huh. I vaguely remember this. Wasn't she turned into something else, or she wasn't the actual person? It was a new creature or something, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Avery Brooks is the worst actor. Oh, you're crazy. Avery Brooks is an awesome actor. Don't forget Janeway and Paris laid eggs together. Yeah, because that's exactly how evolution works. I hate when people try to do stupid stuff. That is... Apparently, humans are going to evolve into salamanders because that makes so much sense. That's exactly how evolution works. Exactly how evolution works. Harry Kim and Geordi LaForge. That needs to be the new one. Do you think they're going to... I'll tell you what. Picard and Beverly. Do you think they're going to kill off Beverly? I think Beverly's going to die. I think they're going to have him married to Beverly, and that's going to be an impact of him, like a heavy impact. I really do. Spock's wife tried to trick him into killing his boss just to get a divorce. That's pretty bad, I agree. Avery Brooks had one of two Shatner actor moments in the entire DS9 series, but for the most part, I thought he was very good. Yeah, I really liked Avery Brooks. Is one of the most intriguing actors to me. I love him as an actor because of how he is so much not Cisco. Avery Brooks has always been kind of hippie-ish, kind of we'll say out there. I don't mean that in a necessarily bad way. And he's always been like that. But it surprises people because Cisco is nothing like that. It just shows how good of an actor he is. What about Kirk And the shapeshifter? What about... I'm not sure who you're talking about. Tucker and T'Pol, they never got together. It was on again, off again, and he ultimately dies. So no, that wasn't a good one either. She's out of captaining her own hospital ship after divorcing Picard. I think they're going to kill her off. Hey man, if they could do Move Along Home with a straight face, they have to be good actors. Yeah, I tell you, Move Along Home was when I was watching it in sequential order, Move Along Home was the episode that I thought was going to be, where I thought that Bashir's character, that the actor should be fired. They actually wanted to fire Bashir's actor, and I absolutely would have. He was an over actor just beyond belief. But that would have been a huge mistake, I think. Ira decided not to fire him and went to bat for him, and that was the absolute right decision to make because he became one heck of an actor. He was so good. Like season 4, 5, and 6, he really came into his own. Personally, I would have fired the living hell out of him at season 3, or season 2 or 3, wherever that was. But I would have been wrong. Move Along Home is to DS9 as The Royal is to TNG. I'd agree with that. Wait. What did he do? When it comes to Bashir, season 1, season 2, Bashir, the actor, Alexander Siddig, was not good. He was... I would challenge anybody who says Alexander Siddig was great throughout the entirety of it to rewatch season 1 and season 2. He was not a great actor at that point. He didn't really do well at all. But after season 1, season 2, he really hit the mark. Deep Space Nine would not have been as good as it was without him. It needed him. Bashir was a creep. He tried to sleep with his great-great-great-grandmother when they went back in time. Well, I mean, someone's got to do it, right? Snowy Hair helping out the channel. Thank you so much. Snowy Hair is actually, because I remember, an author and a really great one. And I'm going to... I think I still have her books here. I'm really tired, but she does some really great work. I've actually been a sponsor, and I actually read the work because I always double check those I sponsor. Honestly, you should check her out. It's awesome. The writing began to decline, I think, after reaching a high during the DS9 and Voyager era. DS9 is my favorite Trek. It's only gotten worse, though. I could agree with that. I think that thanks for supporting the channel. I think that it changed, and it did definitely when you went into Enterprise, went downhill for sure. Justice Ag says challenge accepted. Seriously, yeah, go watch the first couple of seasons. And I tell you what, Justice Ag, next time I have a live stream or on one of the videos after you've rewatched the first couple of seasons, be honest with me and tell me if you think those seasons he was good at acting. That's not to say he didn't become that's not to say he's not a good actor, or that he didn't become a great actor, or that he didn't make Deep Space Nine. But the first couple of seasons, it was really weak, in my opinion. And that happens to us all when we're first starting out. I mean, if you guys go to the very first video the very first video I ever made is actually unlisted, if not private. But if you go to the first video that you can find on here, it is so bad. It's just, we all start out, not the best. I think that's where it came to. Ira saw something that I would not. And Ira was right. And he really did a great service. Should only take a couple of episodes. Yeah, I mean, I think his worst was Move Along Home. Even Patrick Stewart was awkward in the first season. Patrick Stewart, he had his own issues, but he wasn't horrible in my opinion. Deep Space Nine is on Amazon Prime. It's also on Netflix. Hauntus Farmer, it takes a few seasons to get into Trek characters. That can be fair. I think there are characters that do fine. I think Riker started out pretty well. Patrick Stewart, they can be awkward, but I think Picard was done pretty well. I never really ever had an issue with Sisko. I always thought Sisko did well. Best relationship on DS9 was Nog and Jake. Sure. Avery Brooks, when he began as Commander Sisko, he was almost channeling his old character Hawk. Maybe that's to my benefit. I never saw Hawk. So, hey, I can't find it, and I'm pretty tired. Snowy Hair, if you want to, if you'll email me, james@lorereloaded.com, which I'm sure you already know, I will try to share that for you guys. Because I love your books. I think they're excellent. I've never seen him as Hawk, though, so maybe that's to my benefit, because I have nothing to judge him against. Patrick Stewart lived out of a suitcase during season 1, thought TNG was going to be canceled. Yeah, it's interesting. Patrick Stewart, he also had a fear of Hollywood. He told a story about when he was season 1 and it wasn't doing... It's interesting because when you say it's not doing the best, the ratings are really good for any show. It's just for Trek, it wasn't doing the best. And then it became the best well-known, interestingly enough. But anyway, season 1 TNG, he was at an ATM and getting money, and a car pulled up right behind him. And he was worried because he wasn't in a car or anything. He had just walked up to it, and he was so scared he was about to get robbed. And the guy gets out, and he's terrified, and walks up to him. He's like, "Hey, are you Captain Picard? Can I get your autograph?" And he said that was one of the best moments. He was scared out of his mind, and it was just a fan that wanted to get a autograph. I thought that was cool. I'll tell you someone who's really fun in real life, which is Janeway. If you're tired, do cocaine or go to sleep. I'll probably do one of those. I'm not going to tell you which one, but I will probably do one of those. I got to watch Carmen Sandiego before that. Kate Mulgrew is so fun at conventions. I would love to meet her at a convention. I know a lot of people don't like her because of her opinions on misogyny and stuff now. But she's always been like that, so people who are like, oh my god, she did this tweet that Toss is misogynistic. Well, obviously you never paid attention to Kate Mulgrew till now, because that's not inconsistent with how she's ever been. But she's really fun at conventions, and I would love to meet her. Laura, would you rather have Expanse Season 4 drop all at once or one episode per week? Drop all at once. Screw this one episode per week stuff. I think Vulcan... there it is. Here it is. If you guys haven't, and this isn't, I have been sponsored by her before, but this isn't sponsored now. I just really like her material. If you guys haven't, definitely check out that book. It's worth purchasing if you like that type of stuff. I think Vulcans level up every time they mind meld. Every time someone got superpowers, Tuvok was like, let me attempt to mind meld. So they're kind of like, what are they? In Dragon Ball Z, where they're Saiyans. So they can, once they do it, they can. Yeah, she's a feminist, but I've seen her and she's very impressionable. I would say she's far, far feminist. Skirting the edge of toxicity feminist, but she's a good person and I like her and I'd love to meet her. I don't know what's good in overacting except for Toss Kirk, and then Shatner was actually imitating a famous journalist. He dropped it for the movies. I don't know what's good in overacting except for Toss Kirk. Interestingly enough, a lot of people say Kirk overacted. You notice, if you go back and you watch those, he had some points that it was pretty bad, but for the most part, he was a decent actor. A lot of the people who make fun of him is a parody of who he is. Let me say something else about Kate Mulgrew. When you listen to her story, and you hear what she went through, I do feel some sympathy for her, based on her testimony, and I have no reason not to believe her. I think she's telling the absolute truth. The executives and the way she was treated was very, very poor. There was times when she needed to be at home, or she needed to be with someone because they were sick, and they wouldn't let her, and she had to be there a lot. So her response to that, or her belief that maybe it was because of her sex or her gender, I guess her sex, if we want to be politically correct, isn't necessarily, is something you can understand. Brent Spiner is great in person too. Told me dirty jokes as a teenager and embarrassed Burton doing so. I wouldn't mind. I've only met a few, believe it or not. What do you think about the arc when Kira surrogates the O'Brien's baby, where Kira and Miles get close? I think that was... It's hard for me. So when it comes to arcs like that, right now, where I'm at, it's hard for me to be objective when it comes to that specific arc. When O'Brien and Kira were basically about to, bounce on each other, I like that O'Brien recognized what was going on and put an end to it. But right now, when it comes to arcs like that, I do not have the capability of being objective, if I'm being honest. Nathan Wilson, hey man, just popping in to say I greatly enjoy your content. Jesus Christ be with you, friend. Well, Nathan Wilson, always a pleasure to see you, my good man. Hope you're doing well. Geoff the Iron Wolf talked to Brent Spiner online. He was open to ideas, thought he'd been set in his ways on certain things. Well, that's cool. I've never talked to him. I would like to talk to Brent Spiner. I think it'd be cool. The lead actors from the original series were picked. There were all Shakespeare actors to make up for the low budget of the show. Is that true? I mean, if you say it, Victor, I'm gonna believe you, but I didn't know that at all. That whole arc was a result of Nana Visitor getting knocked up by Alexander Siddig. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the arc itself. They have to explain it away, right? So it had to go into that. But the specific question was the episode where they were needed time together or something like that. That I don't really have any use for that episode right now. But when it comes to overall the surrogate thing, I don't care. It's interesting. John Delancey as well. I'll say another thing that I thought was funny. And I forget which episode it's in, but you have Ducat coming in and saying, congratulations on the baby. The Minister Shakar, or whatever the hell his name was, must be really, really proud, or I can't believe he actually did that. And Kira's like, oh, it's not his baby, it's O'Brien's. Funny as hell. I have more respect for people whose differences of opinion comes from personal experience versus when they just seem to attack someone because it's hip and cool. Wow, you must hate this current year's culture. I read a long time ago in a Starlog magazine. I can't be wrong though, Victor. I don't know what you're talking about. With the Shakespearean stuff? Yeah, I mean, I trust you. I just didn't know that. Just seems crazy. Did they actually get married? Yes, I believe they did. Oh God, is it live? Remember, obscene comments hurt the algorithm for views, so try and be nice, everyone. I didn't know that. Did they actually hurt the... I didn't know that. I make it my thing to know. I will remember that, though. Who the heck names their child Nana? Well, somebody who it's probably a cultural thing, I'd imagine. What's wrong with Nana? Bison Hawk, sir. If that even Bison Hawk, if that even is your real name. Brent Spiner I still enjoy when he first appeared on Night Court. Yeah, he was awesome on Night Court. What's my favorite ship of all Trek? That would be the Akira class. I would give anything for them to have a hero ship that was the Akira class. Laura, are you going to do a review of Expanse Season 4? I actually am. I will at some point. Snowy hair getting feisty. All right, guys. I think we'll probably... All right, everyone. Let's say we love lore for the algorithm. Love, yes. All right, guys. I think I am going to end it at this point. I'm a little bit tired. I'm glad that I got to hang out with you guys. Generally, it's going to be 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, not around this time. But, yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow at 11 p.m. I might try to be on tonight at 8 p.m. I know on my video I said I was going to do it. I am so tired. So I may not. But don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe tomorrow. Oh, I'm going to tell you guys. All right, you guys here? Because you're here, because you come to the actual live stream. I haven't reviewed True Q with Olivia Dabu. No. I have teamed up with the person who put Star Trek, the Romulan War fan fiction. And we have some content that's coming out that's going to be about the Romulan War, the fan film. And I'm really excited about it. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't give a lot more information than that, but I think you guys are really going to like it. Who's behind me? Is someone behind me? Thanks for subscribing, Vorn. By the way, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded. Who's behind me? I can't. Is there someone hiding behind me? I don't even know what's going on. Where they are? There must be no one behind me at all. That can't be happening.